Hello, my fellow artists. Oh, goodness. I have to get way down for you to see me today. I'm going to try it this way. These are the directions on how to make your 1-point perspective streets and buildings. For this project, you will need your Chromebook on Google Classroom, where you will pull up the choice board, and then that has the directions on it. So you'll pull that up. Then you need a full sheet of white construction paper. You will need a pencil, a ruler, a Sharpie, and something to color with, crayons, markers, or colored pencils. But that is at the very, very end, so you don't need to decide that right away. Now, once you open up the choice board, I'm going to turn my computer around. You will have, let me see if I can get this to work upside down. So we will have our teaching points. We are going to learn that 1-point perspective. Let me see if I make 1-point perspective is a drawing method so that you can create a sense of space where you draw lines that go to a vanishing point. And a vanishing point is the point in which something that's drawn towards the horizon seems almost to disappear right at the horizon line. Now, our objectives are to learn about 1-point perspective so that we can create a landscape or cityscape that has space. We want to learn about receding lines so that we can plan out our composition and have everything lead back in space to the vanishing point. And then learn about color schemes so that you can choose a bright color scheme for your cityscape. Next is the rubric. You can look that over just to see what we're looking for. We're looking to use a 1-point perspective, to use a vanishing point and receding lines, and good color. Then there are 4 videos on the next 2 slides. These 2 demonstrate perspective. These 2 show more how to do it, but I will also be going over that in the slideshow. The next slide is the video about space that we've already watched in class. And then are the directions. So I'm going to turn it around. You have yours in front of you. Here's what you're going to start to do. You're going to take your paper. You're going to have it in front of you horizontally, so in landscape, and you are going to fold it in half like a hot dog bun, matching up your corners and pushing down. Now you are going to use your pencil and a ruler for this next step, and you are going to trace along that line that you just made. You're going to trace a line. You are going to use pencil. At some point, I may need to move to Sharpie so that you can see what I'm doing. I'm actually going to do that now. So you guys are still using pencil. I'm not going to switch to Sharpie because we may have trouble. Now, you're going to measure in. These pieces of paper are 18 inches wide. So you're going to use your ruler to measure in approximately 9 inches because we want a dot that's right in the middle. Now this line that we drew, the horizon line, is the middle from the top to the bottom, but we want one that's in the middle from side to side. So we're going to put a little mark at the 9-inch mark, make it into a dot. And now this is my vanishing point. Everything in the picture is going to lead to the vanishing point and then it will disappear right over the horizon, kind of like the end of the earth. Now, we're going to take our ruler, we're going to line it up with the corner, about the corner. If it's not exact, it's okay. Line it up with the corner, and you're going to draw lines from each corner to the vanishing point. It'll end up looking like an X in the middle of your page. Some of these you will end up erasing, so make sure you can see them, but you also want to be able to erase them if you're not going to use them later. So you're going to line it up, draw your lines. And you'll end up with your X in your middle of your page. These lines that you've drawn now, including your horizon line, are your receding lines. We will use them to frame out our picture as we draw it. Now, we are going to draw the sidewalks first. So just below on the side of the paper, actually just above, you're going to draw maybe an inch above, draw a little dot on each side. You guys see what I'm doing? Now you're going to line up that new dot that you just drew with the vanishing point. And this is going to be the sidewalks. So make sure you line up with the vanishing point and with that new dot you drew. And then do it on both sides. Right now, if you want, you can make little lines on it. They are going to be across the sidewalk. They will get smaller and further away as you go further down the sidewalk. I'm going to do both sides. They don't have to exactly line up, which is fine. Right. All right, so now we have our two sidewalks. Now we're going to draw trees. We want our trees to be straight up and down. You have to be very careful. When you're drawing perspective, your trees are going to want to lean towards your drawing hand. You do not want that. It will make it so that it doesn't look like it's going back in space. To help with that, you're going to take the edge of your paper, fold it over, line up the edges so it's nice and straight, and draw a very light line in between your top and bottom receding lines. Now you're going to draw a tree. Start with your tree trunk right along the edge of your sidewalk. You do not want to draw a lollipop tree with a Q-tip top. You want to draw real trees. So I'm going to draw my trunk. Keep in mind that the tree that's closest to you is going to have the widest trunk, and the trees that are closest to your vanishing point are going to have your thinnest trunks. So it's going to get thinner as it gets further away from you. So now you're just going to draw your tree. The top of it should end right about that top receding line. It may go off. My first one's going off the side of my paper, and that's okay. So I drew my first tree. Now I want to draw my next tree. It will be a little bit shorter and a little bit thinner. I'm going to draw another line to help me keep it straight, lining it up. Nice thin line, nice light line, I should say. Now I'm going to draw my tree trunk. They will overlap, so just keep that in mind. It's going to be a little bit thinner than my first one. Not a ton thinner, but definitely thinner, right next to the sidewalk. Remember, keep it within the receding lines. So I'm drawing my top. It's going to go over just a little bit, but that's okay. Now, I made my trunk way too long, and it looks super silly. So I'm just going to erase and bring my tree down a little bit further to make it look a little more realistic. Now, doing it again. Little fold over, lining it up to keep it straight because you don't want it to tip. Your next tree is going to be even thinner, even shorter. Remember, keep it below that receding line or nearly below the receding line. And then my last one is right here next to my vanishing point. So it's going to be a little tiny. I'm finding if I keep my tree trunks below the horizon point, that gives me the best amount of tree trunk to tree top. All right. So now I have my trees. You see them? So they start big and fat and tall, and they go down and down and down until they're a little tiny short as I get close to my vanishing point. Next set of directions. Now we're going to start drawing the buildings. To start with the building, you are going to watch the directions in there. Your first line, you're going to start at the edge of the paper, and you are going to draw about an inch in. I'm going to do mine in Sharpie. You guys ready for that? All right. So you can see what I'm doing. You're going to draw about an inch in, and it's going to be parallel to the top of the page. See if I can do this upside down. So it's parallel to the top of the page, not parallel to this line. Your second line is going to be parallel to this receding line. It's going to be about 2 inches long. So you're going to go about 2 inches long. Oops, mine's not quite parallel. Woo. If I had pencil, I could fix it. So these are our first two lines. Your third line is going to go straight down towards the sidewalk, parallel to this side line. Don't let it tip away. right down to the edge. Mine slants a little bit. Your fourth line is going to start where the first line and the second line meet, that little corner right there. And it's also going to be parallel to the side of your page. Like I said, you could even use, that's actually not a bad idea, you could use a ruler. All right, and I'm going to go straight down. Let's hope I'm straight. To the side of the sidewalk. Once again. And then your fifth line, your last line, is going to start here at this bottom corner and go parallel to the bottom, straight back towards the side. So it's parallel to that first line you drew and parallel to the bottom. And here's what you end up with. These should go down to the sidewalk. All right, so there's our first building. For the second building, you are going to start it at the first building. So go down maybe about an inch or so, draw an inch long line again. That is parallel to the top of the page. Second line is parallel to your top receding line. It's about 2 inches long. It should be a little bit shorter now because it's getting narrower. Third line goes straight down to the sidewalk. I'm going to use my ruler. Fourth line starts where that corner was that you made. Trying to keep it straight. Fifth line goes parallel to the first line and back towards that first building. So now I have 2 buildings. See them? It'll be a little easier to see when I go over the sidewalk. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do that right now. So I'm going to go over that receding line because that's going to stay there. You'll be able to see better how it looks on the bottom. Okay? Ready? One more time. I'm going to make this line's going to be a little bit shorter. So I'm going to go down maybe a 1/2 inch and draw a 1/2 inch line. And then draw the one that's parallel to the top receding line. Straight down to the sidewalk. Grab your ruler. Make sure it's straight. Parallel to the one next to it. Another one down from that corner. And then a little tiny line that goes parallel to the bottom. Straight back. If you want, you can do one more little one. I'm going to squeeze one in there. This one's little tiny. So now we have our cityscape. See our buildings? I have 4 of them. Mine are a little leany. It's disappointing. Not too bad though. Now we want to draw windows and doors on our buildings. So this is on the next slide. So go to the next slide. Now, anything that is above the horizon line, the crease, is going to be parallel to this top receding line. Anything that's below the horizon line will be parallel to the bottom, to the sidewalk. So I'm going to do it upside down again. Hopefully I can do that. So I'm going to draw the top of my window parallel to this receding line here. So it's going to go parallel to the top of the building, basically makes it easier. Then you draw 2 lines that are parallel to the sides. And then your third line is also parallel to the top of the building. All right, I'm going to draw a couple windows. Now, I'm going to make this one a nice long one. So I'm going to do it parallel to the top of the building. So parallel to what I just drew. Now my lines go down parallel to the sides. Now notice, I went over the horizon line. Now I'm going to want it to be parallel to the sidewalk. So I'm going to have to adjust my lines. Shorten that one a little bit. Now watch how it goes. Oh, look at my ruler. Bring it a little bit closer. It's hard to tell sometimes. You really want it to be parallel though, because otherwise it ruins the appearance. Parallel to the top receding line, parallel to the bottom. To do a door, you'll do the same thing. So you'll draw the top of the door parallel to the sidewalk. Draw your doors all parallel to the sides, all the way down to the sidewalk. All right, and you'll do that all the way down. Now, if you want to add some to the side, you're just going to do like regular. Parallel to the top, parallel to the sides, parallel to the bottom, all the way down. All right? So you'll do that on every single building all the way down your cityscape. All right? Next, you're going to start erasing. You want the parts, I skipped a step. You are going to want to go over things with Sharpie. So anything that is, you're going to go over the buildings with Sharpie. You will go over your trees with Sharpie, and you will go over your sidewalks with Sharpie. You are not going to want to go over your top vanishing lines with Sharpie. Those are going to be part of the sky. So I am doing both sides of the sidewalk. Oops, I did not make my line straight. Both lines of my sidewalk. Oh, I kind of ruined it. That's okay. Maybe with coloring I'll be able to fix it. Then go over your trees. And if I'm going too fast, go ahead and pause the video. You do not have to keep up with me. Remember, your trees are going to stop at the side of the sidewalk. And I was doing my trees really quickly, so they're not very detailed, but you can, of course, make your trees have a lot more detail and be a lot more realistic than mine. But I didn't want the video to be too long. All right. Then the lines on my sidewalks, I'll go over those in Sharpie. Now, I'm going to erase anything that is exposed. And in actuality, I forgot. We should also go over the horizon line behind the trees, but not where it is behind the trees. So you're going to skip the trees. So I'm going to do the horizon line, skip for the tree. You guys see what I'm doing? Horizon line, skip for the tree. 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 And then there's a little bit of horizon line here. The buildings pretty much completely block the horizon line. So we are going to erase that now. So now you'll erase, erase, erase. You can add details to the sky. You can add details on the street. You can add cars. I'm going to add some dashes like you see on roads over here. Go ahead and color it and you are done. And you have yourself a beautiful cityscape with 1 point perspective heading back to that vanishing point. Nice work. Good job, guys. Bye.